Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're going to be taking a look at r/TrueOffMyChest, where a cheating wife did something truly nasty. Let's begin. My wife gave me chlamydia. That's gross. Posted by Reddit user PossibilityOK6914.
I am livid. The only person I have had sex with within the past 5 years has been my wife. I thought I had a bladder infection or UTI and scoffed when my doctor thought it was chlamydia. Well, here we are. I got the test results yesterday, and I have chlamydia. Decided to start snooping, and it didn't take long to find the text messages between her and her boy toy. My guess is she doesn't even know she had it as well. She thinks I stayed up all night working. But little does she know I've already emailed her little lover boy's wife all the text messages. I warned the lover boy's wife that he's been sleeping with an infected woman and to get herself tested. I'm still deciding how to process this all, but wifey's going to wake up to my positive test results and the messages of her infidelity. The sun should be coming up in the next hour or two, and probably will be the end of this marriage. Edit. I'll make a longer update eventually. I didn't confront her that morning. Boy toy's wife ended up responding to me, and she has not confronted her husband yet either. I'm getting my legal bases covered first. Update. My last post got an unexpected amount of attention. I guess you guys do deserve an update. The short of what happened was my wife gave me chlamydia. I found out she was sleeping with a co-worker and planned to blow our marriage up that night. Thankfully, my drunken mind decided to wait. I had gotten into contact with the co-worker's wife, giving her evidence of what was going on and informing her that the two cheaters probably both had chlamydia. I did this because I suspected my wife was cheating with more than one person. In her texts, her lover boy had asked her if he was the only one she was screwing at the time, and she gave a non-answer. I know this dumb broad well enough that I knew she was screwing someone else as well. Luckily, the co-worker's wife got back to me first thing in the morning to explain that she figured he was seeing someone else. The two of them were privately separated at the time, and their separation agreement stated they were not to see anyone else at the time. She had her own suspicions and thanked me for reaching out. We agreed that she would not confront her husband until I could cover my own ass legally in exchange for the evidence I had of their affair together. She also confirmed to me that her husband didn't have chlamydia, at least when they were still together. I decided to not confront my wife that morning. I pretended everything was fine and dandy while I looked for lawyers and dug deeper to figure out the mystery of the chlamydia caper. I installed a keylogger on my wife's personal PC and quickly got access to a secret email, where guess what? My wife was talking with someone on a hookup website. The best part was that it solved the mystery, as the man informed her he tested positive for chlamydia, and that she probably had it. Even better, these emails were from months before I was infected myself, meaning she knowingly infected me with chlamydia. Disappointed that it was not in fact the chlamydia fairy that caused all this, I have a lawyer. It's not looking well for my soon-to-be ex. The fact she knowingly infected me made my lawyer salivate, along with the mountain of proof of her infidelity. The house we live in is my parents', and we've kept our finances separate since the beginning. Her chances of getting much, if anything, out of me is pretty slim. I served her the divorce papers last month. I bought a security camera on Amazon when this all started, saying I was going to put it over our front door. I hid it in the living room the morning I decided to confront her. I decided to take one of the top comments from my first post on how to drop this on her. We were sitting and having breakfast when I said, "So, I'm curious, does co-worker know you infected him with chlamydia as well?" The short of it was she cried, apologized, tried to claim it was a one-time thing. I brought up that this was her second affair, tried to claim she loved me, tried to blame me, screamed at me that I don't make her feel loved, yada yada, you get it. I served her the divorce papers and her eviction notice right after. I'm staying with my parents until she's out of the house in a few weeks just to be safe. I'm juggling if I want to try and press assault charges against her for knowingly infecting me with chlamydia, as my lawyer said it should be pretty easy to prove with the emails we have. Overall though, I just want her out of my life like the STD she is.
Not feeling loved. The title of every cheater's journal, and it's such utter bullshit. If the victims didn't love the cheaters enough, then the cheaters should have just left. That's the right thing to do. Look, man, press charges, because what she did to you was a crime, and if she doesn't go to jail for it, or at least learn her lesson, she will continue to do it to someone else with her nasty ass. OP, that's why the lawyer is salivating. Use the threat of getting sued to get her to fuck off without a damn thing to her name. Good luck. And now for today's second story. My ex cheated on me and I feel like an absolute idiot, but it showed me the toxicity in my life. Posted by Reddit user Incognito Witch 21.
Fake names used. About 10 years ago now, I was with my ex, Ken, who I had a relationship with for 2 years on and off. I didn't realize until years later that he didn't love me. I was just a means to an end. Ken and I had a break for about 8 months as I wasn't happy about him only giving me affection when he wanted sex, but I loved him, and he was begging for me back and getting his friends and my friends to tell me to get back with him. I eventually caved but made the condition that I did not want to have sex for a while, and to build back up slowly, to which Ken agreed. About a week after getting back together, a girl rocked up at his house who I will call Sally whilst I was there, and she was wearing a mini skirt, knee-high socks, and a low-cut top. Sally realized I was there and she looked stunned as if she had just seen a ghost. I pulled Ken aside and asked what the fuck was going on. He told me that he and Sally had sex when we had split up and she had been asking him for sex for the past week, but he told her he had a girlfriend now and she tried to get him to dump me, but he told her who I was and she realized there was no hope. This was her last-ditch attempt to get him back. 2 weeks later, Ken went on a pre-planned trip with his friend Fred to visit family in Scotland, and without me knowing, he planned to meet up with one of my friends, Emma, who lived there, and they had sex multiple times. I was oblivious to all of this, and as naive as I was, I fully trusted him. We dated for another year before I broke things off as he was being emotionally, financially, and mentally abusive. I found out about the cheating after I broke up with him. I started hearing things about his behavior towards some of my other friends, or stuff they witnessed him doing whilst we were together, and I looked to a mutual friend, Nate, to get the truth. Nate told me that he remembered seeing some messages on one of Ken's best friends, Ryan's Facebook, whilst they were all hanging out, and he said he knew the password, so he logged on and got screenshots of messages between my Emma and Ryan. Emma wanted to come clean, but Ryan was trying to convince her not to tell, as he and I were happy now. She didn't tell me, and these messages were dated 2 months after the Scotland trip. I was heartbroken and angry, and I messaged Emma and said a lot of choice words before blocking her. And I rang him and flew off the handle, but of course he didn't care and confessed to cheating with others, one of them being Sally. I was staying at a friend, Lexi's house, when I found this out. She came to comfort me and then told me that Ken had tried to convince her to have sex with him. This enraged me more, not because she hadn't told me, but because she was 14 at the time, and he was 18, I was 16. I had been with him since I was 14 and he's 16. I cut all contact with him after this. Lexi, however, would say to me face about how she never liked Ken and was glad I ended it with him, but would become defensive about him and still hung out with him from time to time, and although neither of them confirmed anything, I do believe Ken and Lexi has slept together, and they did it whilst I was with Ken and most likely continued after we split. I say this due to her defensive behavior when we talked about him and lied to the police about Ken's behavior towards me, despite her recounting the incident in question that the police were investigating exactly how I remembered it when we were talking a few weeks prior to her police interview. To note, she brought the incident up to me and I did not prompt her in any way, and it was because of that conversation that I asked if it was okay for me to pass her details to the police so they can interview her, and she agreed. The case was dropped due to insufficient evidence, but the officer reassured me that he believed me after he seen both Ken's and my behavior in our interviews. I no longer have contact with any of them, and I live with my current boyfriend who loves me and treats me with respect.
Wow, luckily you moved on from this guy, OP. But I do wonder, how exactly did this piece of shit was able to convince all of these girls, including good friends of yours, to betray you? Well, I guess it's either one of two things. Either this dude is a really good manipulator, or you're not telling us something. Either way, OP, shitty friends, shitty boyfriend, toxic as fuck. It's good that you got out of there and you have moved on. I'm glad that you're happy. And now for today's final story. My cheating ex is acting like the victim. Posted by Reddit user CaterpillarThick7662.
About a year ago, my boyfriend broke up with me. I had no clue why. We had normal couple problems like chores or how we needed dates. He was always playing video games and smoking, so he never understood why we needed time to ourselves away from the kids. Later on, I found out he had been cheating on me with a coworker who was also in a relationship. She would pick him up after the kids and I had left for the day. They would go smoke at her friend's place and do intimate activities in her car at the park while her baby, less than a year old, was in the car seat. He was telling her about our problems in his point of view and began telling the world I was a narcissist without even trying to talk things with me. I obviously messaged her man at the time and he had no idea. They were engaged and he broke up with her. He told me they had been cheating a while back, going to karaoke bars while he was back at home watching her baby that wasn't even his. Baby was from a previous relationship. Then things clicked. I remember how my ex had been practicing how to memorize certain songs and also starting going to karaoke with his buddies. Anyways, she blocked my ex because she wanted to fix things with her man even though he never took her back. After some time of breaking up, he begged and cried for us to give it one more try. I told him I didn't trust him and we could start slow, like going on dates and see if the spark came back. He became super jealous of everyone that texted me. We were always fighting and bringing stuff from the past. My last straw was when I found deleted texts in his phone to someone under the name Spam. When I confronted him, he told me it was just a friend from work. He said her boyfriend knew they were talking anyways. I knew her boyfriend and messaged him with pictures of their messages. He told me they were engaged and had previous problems with her because he found messages of her telling her friends how she liked certain things about my ex. He called off the wedding and broke up with her. My ex is now pissed because this other guy wants to teach him a lesson and I am no longer showing interest in him. I feel disgusted and embarrassed of being with him. He cries all the time and plays the victim by saying that it was my fault he cheated and these community cats are the ones who reach out first. Why won't he just leave me alone and admit he stopped loving me a while back? I've never felt so much anger and disappointment like right now.
At least you learned a valuable lesson. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Move on with your life, man. He wants to continue being in a relationship with you while continuing his sexual escapades. With taken women, by the way. God damn. What a lying piece of shit. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my YouTube channel for you to watch absolutely free. So consider clicking that super thanks just below the video title, or you can use my PayPal in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, make sure to subscribe to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.